Hello, welcome to the Mediabox. I'm joined by Clucas, as well as Lord Provost of Glasgow, Jaqueline McLaren. Thank you so much for joining me today at the Mediabox. I'm going to first of all ask you, Flo, as Chair of the Standing Committee on Gender Equality at the Council of European Municipalities and Regions, tell us about what actions CEMR is taking to tackle violence against women in politics.
Well, the issue at the moment is how we get action, because we do surveys, we do reports, those reports go to others, but I'm in this role to see action, not just reports. And so coming here and talking to colleagues like Jackie and others is really important, because together we will make a difference. On our own, that difference will take a very long time to materialise. So here, now, action follows.
And how are the Congress and CEMR working together to reach those common goals?
I've had a number of meetings today. I've invited Madame Bolognese to our next meeting at CEMR, and I also wish to invite others. In fact, I hope you'll come, because what we will be doing is looking at how we make that difference, not whether we have another survey, another report, another going to a meeting, but how we make that difference, because that is what I want. And I'm going to be asking today that the Congress and others come together to make that difference, not by talking about it, not by having meetings about it, but actually by focusing on the actions that need to happen and the change that needs to happen, and then coming together so we do that.
And Lord Provost, what role do local and regional governments play in tackling violence against women in politics? And what steps have you taken as the Lord Provost of Glasgow to tackle those issues?
The council itself has policy, they have policies in Glasgow, but this is an additional thing that I've been involved in, because I'm here in the capacity as a person who's lived experience with violence against women and violent language used against me online and things like that. So I took it, I had the opportunity to join an initiative that came into Mediabox from the Carter Initiative in America. And very quickly I thought that's a great thing for the city to do. Glasgow should be front and centre of this and doing this. And I invited every young person, every community organisation in the city that were dealing with violence against women in their capacity in their own areas. And we had an 18-month engagement process with all the different community groups, mostly young women. And out of it all came a wonderful app that young people can download and use, and it points them into the right direction for services if they need it, and points them in the direction of where there's red flags if they happen to be in a violent or coercive relationship that they don't know they're actually in because they're falling in love, so they don't see all the red flags that are there. So, and that followed on by making a small film, and I'm hoping that I'm going to send it on to Flo, and I'm hoping that the council will see that when they're here, because I think it's a great toolkit that can be used across Europe and be adapted for every city to help every single young person or young woman that lives in those cities across Europe.
Hopefully it does. Flo, tell us about what regional and local authorities can do to better protect women in these areas.
One of the issues that we have is for the voice of young people and women to be heard. I can tell you what we've done in Cheltenham, which is actually to speak to them, to do surveys, to find out from them what is wrong, what they need changing. And as a result of that, several things have happened. The first is that they have come and met councillors and talked to councillors about their concerns. As a result of that, a couple of things happen. The first is we have taken the decisions that will change the way things operate, for example, in town centre and in our parks. Better lighting in our parks, compulsory training for those working in clubs and pubs, so that if somebody is obviously having a problem, or if somebody has happened to my granddaughter, spiked drink, then there are people there who know exactly what to do. And by having bystander training for people outside, so that they too know what to do if they see somebody seeking to accost a young woman. So all of that is happening. But the other thing that we're trying to do is to say to those young people, to those young girls and women, do you know what? We want to hear what you say. We want to bring you into politics. And this is how you can see politics working. You come, you speak to councillors, you speak to the council, and then we listen to what you say. And if we can do it, then we will. And the other area that we have been working very hard on is with our schools and colleges, because we want our schools and colleges to be part of what we're doing. It's all very well saying, well, of course, so-and-so goes to school, so they're fine, aren't they? No, we want the schools to understand. We want the schools to be part of the work we're doing. And I'm so pleased that they have been active involvers in, for example, No Child Left Behind, which deals with thousands of children across Cheltenham every year.
And Lord Provost, what kind of changes would you like to see made at different levels of governance, not just local and regional authorities? What sort of levels can be made throughout the system of governing?
Well, I think for young people themselves, young women themselves, I don't think we're actively engaging enough with young people. And I think that the piece of work that I was working on, actually, that became apparent to me, that they hadn't had that level of engagement about that kind of scenario where if they're in a violent relationship. And for me, I think regional governments, national governments, I think everybody needs to take stock to understand and realise that women are getting constantly abused in political positions, and it's not through any fault of their own. And I've said to Flo earlier, it's actually because you're a woman, and you know, some people who have been targeting me have not been. It's not been women. It's basically men. But I think we need to sit up and listen, and we need action, as Flo said earlier. Action is the only thing that's going to matter, and we have to get together and get round the table and make that happen.
And Flo, how do you propose that we keep women, female politicians engaged, despite these barriers when it comes to violence that they may suffer when they're in politics? How do we keep them engaged despite the threats out there?
Well, first, they have to know that if they need help, it's there. And it's not there tomorrow, it's there today. That's number one. Number two, as organisations working across Europe, we need to come together and make sure that change happens. And number three, if we have women who feel themselves at risk, then we need to put in training programmes for them. That is what we've done in Cheltenham. And the English Local Government Association has produced some fantastic stuff, which mean we make sure every single councillor receives training, and if there are issues, then councillors receive additional support. Because we cannot have a situation where somebody goes into politics because they feel so well about their own little area where they live. They want to do something to make it even better. And then suddenly somebody's knocking at the door, happening with you online, and they decide, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm backing out. We can't have that. We need that expertise of living locally. We need that passion for people's safety and better future. And if we lose it, then it's not just the women who lose it, it's everybody, everybody. And so we want to change it.
Stark message there. Flo Clucas and Lord Provost of Glasgow City Council, thank you so much, both of you, for joining me at the Mediabox today.
Thank you.
Thank you.